Word for more than several, but less than many. What word or sequence of words can I use if I have more than several, but less than many? For example, if I have 10 to 15 of something, it may not be many, depending on context, but it's too many to be several. What word or phrase can I use? There are many studies which show. Not true. In my context, I don't consider 10 to 15 as many. There are 10 studies which show. Not correct. It's not exactly 10 and I don't know the exact number, nor is it relevant. There are several studies which show. Not correct. 10 is too many to be several. There is a number of studies which show. Means nothing. 0 is a number, as is 1000. What is the correct word or sequence of words here?
A dozen is exactly 12, but you can use that for approximation, as well. There are around a dozen or approximately a dozen. Alternatively, you can just say around 10, or around 15, etc. You can also say over 10 or at least 10, which implies that the number is close to 10.
The phrase quite a few may work. Curiously, it suggests more than a few but less than many. However, it is very vague and context dependent.
All these terms are vague, there is no precise number to them, so there is no accurate comparison. However, measure words sometimes have somewhat predictable comparisons. Several is definitely more than a few, and many is less than most. But between several and many, those are fairly synonymous, with several only working with smaller integers and many applying to pretty much any scale. It is more relative. Some is relative and definitely less than many, but I have some marbles. How many do people have? I don't know, maybe 100 at most, so some might mean here 10, 20, maybe 30. I have several marbles. This means I have more than just a handful, maybe even 10, or 20, or even 30. On a different scale, consider. There are some Muslims in India. India has a population of 1 billion, this would lead you to believe that there might be a subset of that, maybe millions. There are several Muslims in India. This makes it sound like there are under 100, quite a different thing than millions. That should tell you that there is no real, exact answer to your title question. To the implicit question in the contents, you're saying that both several and many are too much. Then use some or a few or nothing at all. Even a number works, no one would so pedantically think of 0, 1 or 2 as a number when you say that, it is mostly synonymous with some. TL, drive. So I suggest. There are a number of studies that probably to be held as truthful should be 3 or more. IBK 2 would be disingenuous. There are studies that this doesn't quantify much at all, it is informally used as not 1, but I want you to think more, but probably only 2.
You might use a phrase like a dozen to a score. I presume colloquial phrases like several handfuls or a goodly number or in double digits don't work in a context where one talks about certain studies showing certain things, but any of the phrases about a dozen, about a score, more than a dozen, and less than a score might be suitable, depending on what you want to emphasize.
A double tilde? There are 15 studies which show. Approximately? To me, several would mean 7 or thereabouts, so it could be 10.